All right, I'm gonna say it, dude. I'm fucking anti-immigration. I am anti-immigration, straight up. I'm gonna say it straight up. And yeah, I know, like, oh, you're a hypocrite because your ancestors were immigrants. Yeah, I know, but I'm still anti-immigration. You could have ancestors that were immigrants and be anti-immigration. In fact, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense to oppose immigration, even if you are the descendant of immigrants. Like Nikki Haley, her son is incredibly fucking based. He's anti-immigration, and his grandparents are immigrants. My great grandparents were immigrants. Well, however, when I was four sets of great grandparents, one of those four sets were immigrants, whereas the others were like Native American stock. But yeah, immigration, I just hate it because, like, bro, I am American. I have no family outside of America. America's my home, bro. I have no family outside of America. Whereas a lot of the fucking a lot of these fucking migrants from South America, like I'll watch like a lot of stories of them talking about like how they've lived here for like 20 years undocumented and they finally got deported. They'll talk about like, oh, I went home to my grandfather to visit my grandfather who I haven't seen in my family. I'm like, dude, yeah, that's because that's your home. Your home is not America. You've America is literally just an economic zone for your people. Like y'all don't give a fuck about our country. Y'all just want to reap the benefits of our economy, which is already going down the drain. But like for me, like my great grandfather and great grandmother who came from Norway, dude, I don't know their fucking I don't know their people who currently live in Norway today. I don't know anyone in Norway. I don't know anyone who lives in Europe because I'm American, you know? Whereas these people, these fucking illegal immigrant, migrants, they're not American. They want a better life for themselves, and you can't blame them for that. It's not. I mean, you gotta have immense sympathy for them because yeah, their countries are absolute shitholes. I mean, absolute shitholes. There's immense poverty, and with poverty comes crime and gang violence, which furthers poverty, etc., and so forth. It's not fair. It's absolutely not fair that these people were born in these shitty countries. But you have to understand that the solution to Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, the solution to those countries being absolute shitholes is not for every man, woman, and child in those countries to come to America. That's not the fucking solution. The solution is to invest money into those countries as well as to control the population of those countries, meaning introduce like two child policies in those countries so that they can stop breeding like fucking wild pigs and and only proliferating the poverty. Okay, that's the solution. It's not sustainable for America to have to hold every single person in South America. I mean, imagine, bro, imagine if America had no fucking border wall. If we had no immigration laws and just allowed anyone who wants to come here to come here. Every fucking person in Africa, well, they'd probably go to Europe because, but every person in South America would just come up here and they would obviously wow. I mean, imagine like they would absolutely destroy like the poor Americans that we already have, the homeless Americans, they would be absolutely neglected. They would they would I know communists. I hate communists so much, dude. They're fucking idiots and I really want to put them in camps. But I know these people they say that it's somehow good for working people in America. And when I say America, I'm referring to the USA. It's good for working class people in America to have to import millions of fucking low skilled, desperate laborers. but they don't really, and their explanation is like, oh, because it's like worker solidarity or whatever the fuck, and I'm like, no, dude, that's not it. That like that makes no fucking sense. I, One interesting thing about Latin American people is that they're they would only vote left wing, and they only do vote left wing because they benefit from left wing politics. But I promise you, if it were the opposite way, if instead of thousands of South Americans coming to North America to seek a better life, if it were instead millions of North Americans fleeing to like fucking Honduras, you know, to seek a better life or whatever, they would have the same fucking sentiment that Republicans in America have towards immigration, because all people on Earth are fundamentally left wing. I mean, fundamentally, they fundamentally put their own interest above the interest of others. That's just human nature. And you have communists, these suicidally empathetic people who like just I don't know. I mean, I kind of like agree with communism to a certain extent, but when it comes to like, oh, open borders, just have fucking. I mean, I'm not even a fan of borders. Like, I really wish we didn't even have borders. Like, I'm not a fan of governments and states and whatever. To tell you the truth, the show, the Fallout show. In the Fallout show, this character here, Hank, he's incredibly based, and I ideologically agree with him. But his philosophy is that humans are fundamentally selfish, which is, yeah, we're selfish, we're animalistic, we want to kill each other, we value our own best interest above others, etc. And his solution to that is to completely reset humanity and only have a small scale civilization. That is his solution to the fundamental destructive selfish nature of humans. And in the show, there's a city that pops up called Shady Sands, a small settlement, and that settlement wasn't supposed to happen. That settlement was never supposed to come about, because Hank and his company, they're the ones who fucking detonated the bombs, because they wanted to basically reset the population so that only them and their investors exist. And Shady Sands was unauthorized, so he nukes them, and like, oh, that's horrible. He nuked Shady Sands. Oh my god. Well, think about it, bro. If he didn't nuke Shady Sands, I mean, there would only exist conflict and war. You know, my philosophy is we need to reduce the population significantly to end conflict and war. The reason there's so much poverty in South America is because South Americans can't practice abstinence. They just have sex like wild pigs, because that's what they're evolutionarily programmed to do, because it feels good. Sex feels good, and that's why they have so much of it. I mean, like, I saw this one story of this one lady who was like a maid in America, in USA. She had like 4 kids in Guatemala, and she abandoned them to come to America. I'm like, bro, like, these people breed like fucking pigs, man. God damn it. And them breeding like pigs isn't like, it's not anything to do with like race or anything. It's more so to do with the fact that South Americans are simply delayed. They're not as advanced as like Europeans are. Europeans are so advanced that our birth rate is well below that of what it was in the past. Like, for example, my dad's stepfather had a total of either 4 or 5 children. That's a lot. Audie Murphy, his parents had like 17 children, and they were dirt poor, and their children ended up being a burden on society. You know, luckily other people adopted them. Just it's good to adopt. That's admirable, but it's a strain on other people. But my mom's dad, he had 4 kids, and this was in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And that's a lot of fucking kids, bro. That's a lot of kids. My dad, my parents only had 2 kids, me and my brother. So populations as societies advance, they decline. A great example is Japan. Japan is far more advanced than Europe. Japan and China, they are very advanced civilizations. I respect those civilizations, those people in Korea. But like in Guatemala, no, they don't have advanced civilization. They just have sex, have sex, kill, 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 drugs. And the problem is they have no infrastructure. There's no infrastructure in Guatemala, Honduras, Ecuador, etc. El Salvador. There's no infrastructure for them because it's just killing and death and brain drain. And it's sad because it creates this infinite cycle of Guatemalan women having like 50 kids, and those kids all come into USA, and ultimately when they come to USA, well, congrats, they well, for one, they disrupt the ethno homogeny of America, which isn't desirable necessarily, and for two, they undermine Native American workers, and it's just not sustainable to have fucking these like sows in Guatemala just infinitely have babies and have the overflow of the population perpetually come to America. That's not a sustainable system. We need to reduce the population of Guatemala. We need to introduce Planned Parenthoods. I'm not a fan of abortion at all, but I am a fan of reducing the population. Because think about it, when you reduce the population, that reduces the amount of abortions that happen, and I think that's good. But I don't know, man. I just I think we need to reduce the population of Earth. Earth is the what even is Earth's population? It's like Earth's population. It's fucking well beyond, yeah, 8 billion. That is far, far, far too many fucking people. There's not enough. The infrastructure cannot support that. There's not enough fucking resources for that to be sustainable. Not to mention the carbon footprint that all those people will create. I mean, it's like, of course, the capitalists love it, bro. Capitalists love unregulated population growth because that means that they can sell more product, have more workers, and that's an absolute benefit for them. It absolutely benefits the economy, but it hurts the planet. You know, so I don't know. The population needs to be like 100,000 on Earth. That needs to be the population size. And I think there was some stones, and there were like these like Georgia Stonehenge. There's these stones in Georgia that um they were super weird and odd, and they ended up getting destroyed by these loser leftist um people. But basically these stones, what they oh that's so sad. That is so sad that someone would do that, honestly. What these stones do is in ever the event of like Armageddon or like an apocalypse or whatever, their purpose is to basically tell future people that exist um what to do. And so it's just a guidance. And one of the rules is yes, be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature. Um Avoid petty laws and useless officials. That's a funny one. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in the world court. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Yeah. Unite humanity with a living new language. Yes, based, bro. Based. Although it would probably be preferable to be a current language, but whatever. maintain humanity under 500 million or 500,000. I cannot read, bro. 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. So yeah, that sounds reasonable. That's only like 1/16 of what the current population is. So just kill off every 15 people. Obviously, that's a joke. Obviously, the reduction of the population will be induced through abortions and not abortions. I'm talking like sterilization and just abstinence, Or you can resort to what Hank did in the Fallout show, which is to nuke Shady Sands. That's another way to, you know, regulate population growth or whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop talking.